Ladies and gentlemen, I just finished watching Dexter Resurrection, episode 7, and, you know, I have to say, before the season came out, I was skeptical. I was like, there's no way this is going to be that good. It's probably going to be like New Blood or something like that, but this series is continuing to amaze me episode by episode. This is episode 7. This is another 10 out of 10. This might be the best episode of the show that I've seen so far. And if you see me looking down, I have a list of notes because I had, if you see me in this if you see me in this golf attire, it's been a long day, that's how you know. If you see me in this golf attire, I had to wake up this morning, go to Baltimore, or past Baltimore in Maryland. I was at the BMW Championship. You see that? It was really cool and all of that stuff. So I got to watch this episode as a passenger in the car. People in my car thought I was a psychopath because I was just like this looking at the thing. And I watched the episode twice because we had 2 hours and I wanted to make sure I got this review out. So they saw me nerding the hell out for 2 hours. But yeah, that's why I'm in this attire. You'll never see me in a hat again. I just don't like hats. But I had to get this video out tonight, even though I'm honestly delirious. It's been a long day. But my God, this episode, again, might have been my favorite of all of the spinoff so far. And you've probably seen me go on a tear online. You've probably seen me say how much I love it and all of that stuff because I put it on X, I put it on YouTube, how much I think this is just like one of the best seasons of TV. I understand time will tell, and I understand there are 3 more episodes to go. Anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen, but these 7 episodes, I'm starting to really believe, and I'm knocking this out of the way because it's relevant to what I'm saying. I'm starting to really believe, even if they absolutely butcher these next 3 episodes, I'm kind of okay with it because what we've gotten has been such a treat so far. So to start out, I want to start with the negatives here because even though I think this is a 10 out of 10, someone brought up a really good point in my post earlier today. It's Denise Subtle 2538. I don't know, I'm not sure. They had said this was my least favorite episode of the season. It had excellent moments. Dexter making himself vulnerable to the other serial killers was a high point, if a bit overdramatic, but the killing of the second half of Gemini was not believable. And I just don't buy that the New York cops would give Batista as much access as they do, given that he's now a private citizen. So, okay. I had to bring this up in the beginning because it's very, very, very relevant. If you guys have been longtime viewers of the channel, you know that I am usually someone who hyper-analyzes things, especially when it comes to like The Walking Dead and stuff like that. Like, you know, if you've been watching for a while, that's a thing. Like, I nitpick things and all of that stuff. That is kind of my MO. But the difference is, with this, I am so immersed in this story that I don't care if there's these little details like that take me out of it, because the fact of the matter is they don't take me out of it. Even though those things are negatives, and I do agree, Denise, that these are negative things, for sure. What separates this from a show like Dead City or something like that is, in a show like Dead City, there is nothing good to say about it. So then I overanalyze and I watch things and I'm like, okay, well, that was stupid. Another point is, it makes, when something sucks as it is, the worst of it really stands out and it becomes immersion breaking. The moments that are negative about Dexter Resurrection are significantly outweighed by the positives, that it doesn't really matter to me. Like, they don't stick out. They're not immersion breaking. They're just like, they're just there. I know they're there, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm willing to suspend disbelief way more in a show like this that is genuinely quality than I am in a show where it's just pointed out that it's like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Even though there are things here, I'm willing to suspend the disbelief because the immersion I'm getting from the story matters way more than if there's like a little detail to me. So Denise, I completely agree with you, and I bring this up because I think it's relevant to the video. I'm 5 minutes into this video and I haven't even talked about this episode yet, but I'm just talking overall because I think it's absolutely relevant. This episode, just to actually get into it, Everything really just worked for me here. The acting with Peter Dinklage was really good. Harrison starting to consider taking a role in Law is really interesting. Harry and Dexter's dynamic was really interesting. The big thing that happened in this episode with Dexter killing Gemini 2 was really interesting. There was so much. Oh my God. And then at the end, the Batista conversation was just absolutely heartbreaking. There was the New York Ripper thing, which now I have reason to believe is Trinity Killer's son. There was just so much in this episode, and the fact that I could glaze, I just never thought I'd be able to do all this. I'm just being honest, I never thought I'd be able to do all this, but so obviously this picks up where we see Dexter and them going to some private home in a very Succession-esque helicopter music track and blah, blah, blah. It reminds me of episode 1 of Succession. But when they get there, you see there's like a smorgasbord of food, and then they pan over to the veggies, and they look just so boring. And it's so funny to me that Dexter broke out of that just because he's like, I can't look at all this good food and not eat it. So he's like, all this good food is making me think about not being a vegetarian anymore. And Prater's like, have at it. You're at the best place to do so. I thought that was just so funny. He like couldn't resist eating the meat. I thought that was just absolutely hilarious in general. And then another thing that I thought was hilarious was Dexter practicing in the mirror how he's going to act as Red. That was just really good too. I even like that whole dynamic I thought was really interesting. And then I even loved in that moment when he's practicing what he's going to say to as Red, Harry talks to him and Dexter accuses him of killing himself because of Dexter. I thought that nuance was just wonderful to see. And I have to remind myself all the time that Harry Morgan is a ghost. I have to remind myself that because James Remar and Michael C. Hall just do such an incredible job with that. I think it's one of the things. Maybe this is a reason people didn't like New Blood so much, is that it was missing James Remar. It was missing that dynamic. And it was missing Dexter as the Bay Harbor Butcher for sure. Like those details were missing. But this was just on full display and it came out so good. All right. On to other things. I also love how Batista is talking to Claudette about Mia's kill identically to how Jeffrey Epstein was died in the real world. I just think that is so interesting. He's like, how does these cameras go out at just the right moment for her to kill herself? Things like that I thought were just really interesting to see play out because it's like mirroring the real world and people's actual conspiracy theories with it. I love when they give like little nods to things like that going on in the real world for sure. So that was interesting. Another thing that was really interesting is learning more about Leon Prater and his backstory and how after his parents died in that car accident, he went and visited the killer who it turned out it was a serial killer and all of that stuff. I thought that was genuinely really interesting. There's just so much there, and we didn't even get to the crazy stuff. So obviously, I said it in the beginning, Gemini 2 was a big focus going into this episode. It's like, how is Gemini going to react? It's a twin. How is he going to feel about this? Like, you know he must be onto Dexter in some way, shape, or form. Was Gemini 2 even there the whole time? Like, was this Gareth guy really Gareth, or was it his twin the whole time? Like, there were so many blurred lines. And to some extent, to what Denise in the comments had said, it is true. I mean, objectively speaking, killing Gemini 2 this quickly was kind of a missed opportunity because, one, it's FBI's most wanted, for sure. Like, that's a thing. But also because there was just so much, I feel like, more story to tell. And I feel like they were building to that in the promotions for this show and the way they portrayed this character. But really, it just went nowhere, to be honest, because they just both died. Like, it almost makes me think, again, I think this is a 10 out of 10 episode, but I didn't really exactly understand the direction, I guess I could say, of why they made that this big reveal. It was cool for a moment, but like then the moment is over and he's dead. Like, you know what I mean? It was a little too quick, and I have a little bit of a hard time believing that Dexter's continuing to just fully get away with this. I know I said the details that are like holes in the story aren't immersion breaking, but now that I'm on a roll, there are things just coming to my mind. Like, you would think that Gareth wouldn't be the only one questioning Dexter. You know what I mean? Leon, I feel like, has a good reason. Charlie definitely has a reason, and I think we're going to see that play out. and all of that stuff. That's a little interesting to me, but regardless, even just ignoring the fact that they had set it up and blah, 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 the way Gemini 2 went out was really, really cool. Their conversation was very interesting because I did not see it coming, and the way Dex turned in that moment was just truly fascinating. I genuinely liked every bit of it, and it was very creative the way he went about killing Gemini 2 and making it seem like it's self-defense, even though still I have a hard time believing that, but whatever. I loved that moment. I thought that was really great. The only other thing we got out of this episode was we got to see Big Al, I think that's his name, the ponytail killer in action. I think that's going to become a big thing later. And I think the reason they're keeping him around the longest is because he's going to do something to someone we like maybe Harrison's friend or maybe Harrison's new love interest or something like that. I'm interested to see where that goes. But okay, I've saved the best for last, honestly, because like all of this is good. Everything was good about the episode. I genuinely enjoyed it. Actually, I didn't save the best for last. We got to get to the New York Ripper thing, but I'm going to talk about the best for last thing right now because I think it's absolutely relevant. And sorry, I'm getting a call. Batista and Dexter's conversation at the end was just fucking heartbreaking. It genuinely was heartbreaking. I could not believe what I was watching because I always forget that Dexter is actually a serial killer and a straight up psychopath. So for him to lose any sort of surface level feelings for Batista and just go full on psycho towards him was heartbreaking. And you saw it in Batista's eyes, even though Batista's obviously out to get Dexter right now. You saw it in his eyes when Dexter was saying things like, if these things are true, this doesn't bode well for you. It very much tread lightly from Breaking Bad sort of vibes. But you could see the emotion, and it's great acting by David Zayas. It's great acting where you could see that emotion go from pure heartbreak to this motherfucker, I gotta get him. I thought that was just done so well, and I think it was one of the biggest reasons I liked this episode was their interaction and the way he hid the AirPods, which is really interesting. But that single moment to me, watching Batista's face go from pure heartbreak to realizing this guy is a true monster and I need to take him down, was everything. It was his confirmation. Like, it was definitely Batista's way of knowing, okay, this isn't just some crazy theory anymore. This is very real. This is Dexter. Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher. And then now it's putting these next few episodes into motion. I'd say I'm scared for Batista because I love Batista and he's a fan favorite, but I'm so interested to see where this goes that even if the story comes to him dying, I'm okay with it because I'm loving what they're doing here. And if it does come to him dying, I feel fulfilled. I personally do. Yeah, Quinn hasn't been around Masuka either and all of that stuff, but I do think if something happens to Batista, that's going to be perfect setup for those people to come back around and things like that. Regardless, even if Batista dies, I think they're doing such a good job of setting that up. And it's just, God, I could go on forever. The only other detail, I know I said I saved the best for last, I mixed that up again. It's now almost midnight. I've been out since 6 a.m. It's been a long day. The point I'm getting at next, the last thing, is the New York Ripper thing. After hearing, so at first I had thought the New York Ripper was Blessing. I thought that it was him, and I know you guys always say to me that I need to learn my names. I'm working on it, but guys, you gotta remember, I'm just like you. I watch an episode and I talk about it. That's all I'm doing here. If I don't remember all the names, I'm not perfect. I'm not a movie critic. You know what I mean? I'm just going about the episode. Yeah, maybe I should do better, and I understand that because you guys watch these videos, you want to hear things. I do understand that. But like, in the end of the day, no, I didn't know his name. Anyway, now I know his name's Blessing. The point I'm making is I had thought that the New York Ripper was Blessing. I thought that's what they were setting it up to be. And that answers more questions about Blessing for me now. I don't even know where this is going to go with him. But what I think now, for sure, is this might be Trinity's son. The only reason I'm saying that is because that piece that he uses, the New York Ripper uses, is exactly what that Trinity's son used in season 5. The voice sounded like him, and apparently people are talking about online that the actor who played Trinity's son has been like teasing things about Dexter Resurrection. So what else would that mean? If that's the case, that is very interesting. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play into that. We're 3 episodes away from the finale. Are they setting him up to be season 2's villain? Like, what are they going to do with that? I'm very interested to see where that goes, naturally. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I thought a funny moment came from that with it at the end of the speech that Claudette was giving. When Dexter goes up to Claudette and is like, the spatter reminds me of like the sickle thing or whatever you call it. Don't even know what it's called. Thought that was interesting, but then at the end he's like, the facial thing is like, just an idea. I thought that was so funny. And then later when Dexter complains about paying $40 for a college hat, I thought that was so funny. There was just so much, man. I know I spent like the first 5 minutes of this video talking about broad things, but they're all relevant to what I'm talking about here. So if you actually made it past the 5 minutes, comment the illustrious dolphin so I know you're actually here, because I feel like my retention for this video is going to go because I've just been rambling the whole time. But whatever, these are my genuine feelings after watching it twice in a car with golfers looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? This is how I get it midnight after a day out like this. Whatever. Definitely let me know your thoughts about Dexter Resurrection Episode 7 in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? All that stuff. And be sure to follow me on X and Instagram. On X, it's Jerry's_takes. On Instagram, it's Jerry's.takes. I post there all the time. Don't ask me why there's a difference between the two of those in like spelling. But yeah, with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.